Nobody's gonna buy your drawings. If you have time for that, go get a part-time job.
Liam tore up the tickets for my art show right in front of me. I silently stared at the torn pieces scattered at my feet. Tears welled up. Becoming an illustrator was a dream since I was little. I'd finally achieved that dream, managing to hold my own exhibition. But that dream was belittled. Every time I drew, both Liam and my in-laws, with whom we live, frowned upon it. Yet, I've persevered through all of it. I never neglected the house chores. Since the birth of our daughter, Lucy, I've also been taking care of her. I've never criticized Liam's hobbies. This is just too much. I think to myself that I'm not forgiving Liam. From now on, I'm gonna live as I want. I won't let anyone complain. Picking up the torn tickets, I glared at Liam. I, Emma, am 35 years old. I married Liam when I was 22. Our only daughter, Lucy, just started elementary school this spring. She seems to struggle a bit with her studies, but she's fitting in with her classmates and seems to be enjoying school. As a mother, it gives me some peace of mind. After sending Liam and Lucy off and finishing the household chores, I sit at my desk. I work as an illustrator. I'm essentially freelance, mainly working for individual clients. Sometimes, I get offers from corporations. Those times are especially nerve-wracking. Though I've been receiving steady commissions, my family has never acknowledged my work. We live in a second-hand house, sharing it with my in-laws. They don't work in our home all day. They never help with the chores. Mostly, they complain about the taste of my cooking and scream at me for always drawing, calling me useless. I don't draw just for fun. I get paid and have deadlines to meet. You're not a painter. How can drawings make money? No matter how many times I explain, this is the response I get. My in-laws and Liam believe that I'm lying because I want to draw. Social security checks are much more reliable. And with that, they ask for allowance every month. They get Social Security, so they say I should give them some money from that. It's proof that we worked hard when we were young. It'd be nice if someone would actually work too. Both of them criticize me in unison. I've proposed to live separate from them to Liam several times. Every time, Liam would raise his voice.
What a heartless woman you are. They're my parents. Show some respect.
Such a thing. Liam always took his parents' side. When his mother accidentally broke a vase in the past, he insisted that it was not her fault.
It's wrong to place something fragile like a vase here.
Because of his constant defense of his parents, I always ended up being the bad one. His mother's main way to spend her money was to buy toys for Lucy.
Thank you, Grandma.
It's okay, honey. Tell Grandma if you want anything, and I'll get it for you.
Yeah, I love you, Grandma.
Lucy, not knowing the full story, is very attached to her grandmother. On the other hand, when we go shopping and Lucy wants candy, I sometimes have to take it away from her. At such times, Lucy would shout at me.
Mom, you're so mean. Grandma would never do that.
Lucy, I'm telling you no because I'm worried about you. What if you get cavities from eating too much candy?
But Grandma said it's okay. Please don't compare me with Grandma.
I unintentionally raised my voice. Lucy started crying. Other customers whispered among themselves, looking our way. That night, when Liam came home, he was furious.
How could you make Lucy cry?
But, you see,
I don't want to hear any excuses. From now on, Mom and I will take care of Lucy. You don't have to do anything.
I was taken aback by his command. I wondered if Liam and his mother, who only spoil Lucy and do nothing else, really believe they can take proper care of her. But the look in Liam's eyes was serious. I felt overwhelmed and just nodded. However, Liam's commitment lasted only 3 days. His mother seemed hadn't heard anything about that and continued to do nothing. When I think about it, I'm the one working. It's not fair for you to just live without doing anything. And so, he once again told me to take care of Lucy. While unpleasant events kept occurring, my work was going smoothly. Is this for real? I muttered as I looked at the content of an email. I received an invitation for a solo exhibition from a client I had communicated with a few times before. I blushed with excitement. I checked the email over and over again, savoring the fact. If I was going to hold an exhibition, I would need many paintings. While there were reprints of past works, the main content would certainly be new creations. I started creating with more passion than ever before. I worked late into the night, after my family went to bed. Even if my family didn't recognize my efforts, there were people who appreciated my art. Just that thought made me feel like I could keep going. The exhibition was coming up next month. I delivered a few new pieces, and all that was left was to wait for the big day. Tickets for the day were delivered to me. There were 3 tickets. It was a kind gesture from the organizers for the family. I was in a dilemma. Would Liam come with me? Perhaps after the success of my solo show, people might finally recognize my work as an illustrator. I decided to invite Liam. Hey, Liam.
What's up?
Liam was watching TV at that moment. A baseball game. It was a game featuring a player Liam was rooting for. Liam responded without taking his eyes off the screen, being into the game.
I'm gonna be out next month on my day off. Got plans to hang out and grab drinks with friends. Oh, can't you spare a little time?
Why?
My artwork's been recognized, and I have a solo exhibition coming up. I was hoping you'd come see it.
Liam just stared at the TV silently. I repeated with a hint of desperation.
It's my first solo show. Some of my regulars even helped plan it, and I've got some new pieces on display. What the hell are you talking about?
Only then did Liam finally look at me. There was disdain in his eyes.
Don't drag me into your little hobby. It's not a hobby. Some of the displayed artwork might even sell. Who the hell's gonna buy your drawings? If you've got time for that, why don't you just get a part-time job?
Liam shouted, snatching the ticket from my hand. Then, right in front of me, he tore it up. The torn pieces scattered at our feet. I stared at the torn pieces in shock. Words failed me. Only tears flowed. Picking up the fragments of the ticket, a thought crossed my mind. Liam would never understand my profession. I never once belittled his hobbies. But he would never let me have a hobby, let alone turn that hobby into a profession. I've had enough. I glared at him. I can't take it anymore. I said that, venting my feelings. Once the words left my mouth, my resolve solidified. I'm gonna break up with Liam. To be honest, the thought of divorce had always been on my mind. I've already got a contact number of a lawyer who assists divorce process. But every time I thought of divorce, our child, Lucy, crossed my mind. Our child needs both parents. Moreover, if I left with our child, Lucy would have to transfer school. That's what I'd endured all this time. But that ends today.
Hey, Emma?
Ignoring Liam's call, I returned to my room. I packed my things and checked the lawyer's business card was there.
That's it.
Nodding, I headed to our child's room. Lucy was perhaps doing her homework, sitting at her desk.
Mom? I'm sorry, Lucy.
Looking at Lucy's face, a wave of guilt washed over me. I hugged her impulsively. Lucy looked puzzled.
Lucy, I've decided to leave this house. What?
The innocence vanished from Lucy's face. Although I felt guilty, I continued.
What do you want to do, Lucy? Stay here with Dad, or come with me?
I thought she wouldn't come with me. Lucy was closer to her grandma, and I always seemed to be scolding her. It was just when I thought that and gave a bitter smile.
I want to be with you, Mom. Lucy! I love the paintings you make.
Saying that, the Lucy laughed. She smiled shyly and pointed at her desk.
Just trying to be like you. I want to be a good artist too. No, you're already good. You'll surpass me soon.
Tears filled my eyes. What Lucy was drawing was a young girl standing in a flower field. A theme I often drew. I left a note saying I'd go to my parents' house with Lucy and the business card of the lawyer on the dining table and left the house. Holding Lucy's hand, we headed to my parents' place. I had already explained the situation to my parents, so they welcomed us without hesitation.
It must have been tough with Liam behaving like that, Emma.
Yeah. Before I could catch my breath, my cell phone rang. It was from Liam, who was furious on the other end.
Emma! Where's Lucy?
She's with me. She's here by her own choice and we're just staying in my parents' place. We'll need to discuss Lucy if we get a divorced. I didn't want to make Lucy confused, but I really wanted to see my parents before proceeding with the divorce process as they're always on my side. Then Lucy decided to come with me for now.
Dad?
You want to talk?
Yes.
I handed the phone to Lucy. Liam's tone softened instantly.
Lucy! Are you okay? Yeah, Dad. I'm sorry, but I want to be with Mom.
Why were you saying this? If you stay with her, you'll be unhappy. Come back home.
Dad, that's not true.
Lucy replied in a calm voice, surprising me with her maturity.
Mom tried her best all the time. I've seen it. But you and Grandma kept saying hurtful things about her paintings.
Lucy.
I'm worried about Mom. That's why I want to stay with her.
With that, Lucy ended the call. She looked over and gave a bashful smile. I patted Lucy's head. I thought we had no allies in that house. But Lucy had been watching. For the next few days, calls and letters from Liam kept coming to my parents' home. The contents were more or less the same, all boiling down to him demanding Lucy back.
It's okay. Everything will be all right.
Yeah, thanks, Mom. I continued my work as an illustrator. I could stay in calm and working from my parents' place was not an issue. Unlike my in-laws, my parents worked. We helped each other with household chores. So naturally, I spent more time with Lucy. Lucy asked me to teach her how to draw and help her with her studies. I always responded with a smile. In addition to household chores, I had my art to work on. Still, I could never mistreat Lucy, who chose to stay with me. Soon, the day of my solo exhibition approached. My father couldn't come because of work, but I decided to take my mother and Lucy. Then, one day.
Hello.
Someone knocked at the entrance door of my parents' house, and Lucy cheerfully ran to answer. But she stopped at the doorway and quickly came back. In a frightened voice, she said,
Mom, Dad's here.
I figured. I had a feeling he'd come by in person eventually. I took a deep breath. I wasn't gonna let Liam in. I wasn't even gonna open the door. I intended to send him away immediately. What do you want? I tried to sound as cold as possible. What surprised me was Liam's reply.
Emma, please come back. I was wrong.
What are you trying to do? I asked. His voice was too sincere to be an act. In a weak voice, Liam said,
My parents aren't doing anything. They're just eating fast food, and the laundry's been piling up since the day you left.
And? It seemed things were going just as I had imagined. Being out most of the time for work, this situation must be tough for Liam. No one's getting him new clothes, so he's having to wear wrinkled ones over and over. People at his clients' places often notice what one wears. With his current sloppy appearance, getting new jobs would probably be hard.
The house is turning into a complete mess. Please, help me out.
I wasn't doing anything in that house either, right? I let out a sigh. Your mother said I was a wife who didn't even do housework. You agreed so too.
I was wrong. My mom claimed she was doing all the housework, and I believed her. I was fooled.
He spoke as if he was a victim too. Even though he had badmouthed me alongside my mother-in-law. Don't you have any intention to do housework yourself?
I've never even held a knife, and I don't know how to use the washing machine.
That doesn't mean you can rely on me. Basically, he wants me to come back and handle the piled-up chores. What a joke. I'm never going back to that house. The day I left that house, I let go of all my feelings for Liam. There's no way I'm gonna feel sorry for him now. I'm not your maid.
Isn't it a wife's duty to do housework?
Liam's tone became harsh. Beyond being exasperated, I calmly responded to him and I was like, I don't want to be your wife anymore. Every morning, I woke up early to make your lunch. But I never heard a thank you from you, and there were days when I was disappointed to see the lunch untouched. I never missed hanging the laundry and ironed them to prevent wrinkles. Do you get it? I've been doing chores 365 days a year without a single thank you.
So what's your point? Isn't that what wives are supposed to do?
If there had been gratitude, we would have been a normal couple. I felt more strongly that we'll never understand each other. Liam didn't get it, and he didn't want to. He was just temporarily down on his luck. Deep down, he hasn't changed. I used to be grateful to you for working. But that's over now. I'm gonna live on my own strength. You should try hard on your own too.
Hey, Emma.
Liam was still saying something, but I ignored him and went back to the living room. Liam banged on the door. But eventually, he seemed to give up and left. My exhibition was reasonably successful. I walked around the venue holding Lucy's hand. My mother, who came with us, pointed at one of the visitors and said, "Isn't that Liam?" Huh? I was taken aback. It would be awkward to face Liam directly, unlike talking through a door. It would bother Lucy too. With those thoughts, I looked at the visitor's face. He wore his hat low, but that was definitely Liam. "Mom, watch Lucy for me." "All right." I left Lucy with my mother and approached Liam. I asked quietly so as not to disturb the other visitors. "What are you doing here?"
You really made painting your job.
His tone was still lacking spirit. His clothes looked wrinkled and unkempt. Liam's eyes briefly met mine.
But you're not selling any, right?
Look over there. I pointed to a certain corner of the venue. The painting on the wall is a new piece. Below it, it showed as sold. That painting's already been snagged by a private collector and has a price tag. Want to know how much?
No, I'm good.
Liam took a step back, looking startled. He seemed shocked to see my artwork being sold.
Excuse me, do you have a moment? Yes, what can I help you with?
The man who approached was a local newspaper reporter. He mentioned that they want to feature this exhibition in an article in the coming days. There's also an interview with me. For freelancers, networking is crucial. If you don't stand out from your peers, you won't make it in the industry. So, this was a welcome opportunity. Liam's eyes widened. You're really making it big, aren't you? Well, let's just say I make more than you do. I said it matter-of-factly. Liam looked flustered, letting out a groan. I could see he'd gotten the picture. He'd always thought he was the sole breadwinner for the family. But the reality was different. To begin with, Liam wasn't exactly a high earner. Our combined incomes were just enough to get by. As for his parents, they often bragged about their social security checks, but those checks were just a drop in the bucket. To be frank, even the allowance for his parents wasn't covered by their social security. I had been supplementing it with my income. Emma, you're really something. What are you talking about now? I walked away from Liam. But he followed closely.
Emma, let's start over. Paint as much as you want. I'll help with the chores. Please, come back.
I didn't respond. His plea was too self-serving, and it left me dumbfounded. Then, I noticed someone watching. They didn't have the courage to approach me, but I had felt their gaze for a while. Turns out, it was his ragged-looking parents. They were standing in front of my sold painting. Their eyes popped as they alternated between the sold sign and me. They didn't even glance at the artwork itself. They were just astonished that my paintings could be turned into cash. "Liam, how did you get in without the ticket?" When I told them I'm the husband of the illustrator, they let me in. "You mean ex-husband?" I was more than annoyed. By tearing up the ticket, Liam had cut himself off from benefiting from my artwork. Now, he had no choice but to live on his income and the meager social security his parents boast about.
"Excuse me, this artwork is wonderful."
"Thank you." Another customer complimented, and with that, another painting was sold. Liam and his parents just stood there, looking stunned. From the next day, I started receiving calls from Liam with relentless vigor.
"Dad, what the heck happened?"
"I wonder, what should we do?" His attempts to get me back were unprecedented. After some thought, I reported Liam to the police as a stalker. Liam must have received a warning, but he continued his calls and stalking, and ended up in police custody.
"Me? A stalker? You gotta be kidding. I'm her husband."
That was his argument, but it was a futile cry since we were already divorced. His parents, embarrassed by their son's legal troubles and feeling the judgmental gaze of their neighbors, distanced themselves from Liam as if they were running away. But no matter where they went, bad rumors would probably follow.
My family never approved of my job.
That must have been tough. During an interview, I confided about the anguish of not having my work recognized by Liam and his parents. Rising star creator, a tragic heroine. Despite adversity, she continued drawing. That's what the headline read. I looked at the article as if it was about someone else. Being a tragic heroine isn't as glamorous as it sounds. It was tough. But now, things are different. I have my daughter. I have my parents. And there were fans who appreciated my work. Liam, the very thing you rejected had this much power. Thanks to a feature in a local paper, my reputation as an author improved. I started getting more work and could support my daughter on my own income. Staying at my parents' all the time felt uncomfortable. I decided to rent an apartment and live there with my daughter. I chose a place close to her new school. My parents seemed disappointed.
"You can always stay with us."
"You've been through a lot in that house."
"Thanks, but it's my life,"
I said, reminding myself. Relying on others is something Liam and his parents taught me not to do. I'm gonna take that lesson to heart. One day, my daughter brought a friend home from school. She seems to be adjusting well after transferring. Despite the inconvenience I caused her because of my circumstances, she remained positive.
"My mother's an artist." "That's so cool."
Since moving, my daughter started to sound more mature. She had switched from calling me mom to mother. She started practicing drawing more seriously. Before, she'd just doodle random drawings in her notebook, but now she shows interest in the tools I use for work and spend more time watching me work.
"I'm gonna be like you, Mother." "Really? That makes me happy. Wanna try using this pen?" "Really?"
She blushed with excitement. It reminded me of when I got a new notebook or paints, and I couldn't help but smile. Like mother, like daughter, after all. At first, Lucy couldn't draw a straight line. Every time she tried to sketch, the lines would warp and it just looked like a jumbled mess. But after many attempts, Lucy's drawings started to look more like actual pictures. Her use of paints and colored pencils also showed promise. Apparently, she's one of the best artists in her class.
"Look at this. The teacher complimented my drawing." "Really? Let me see."
I was truly amazed. It's my daughter's growth. There's no way I couldn't be proud. I've only taught Lucy the real basics. Like breaking down the human body into sections for easier drawing, and the relationship between light and shadow. Beyond that, she must have learned by watching me work or studying my finished paintings. Lucy might be even more talented than me. I honestly think so, and it's no exaggeration. Lucy gave a shy smile. I'm gonna keep on drawing. For Lucy. For my fans. And most importantly, for myself who never gave up on art, no matter the circumstances.